Let's get started. John Hale, we'll start with you.
Jay, in terms of your recruiting coordinator duties at this time of the year, how much is it recruiting the next wave of players versus recruiting your own players to stay in this age of free transfers and everything else that's coming?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, right now, the main focus is just trying to get the players better that are here every day. So that's been the biggest thing with them. And then, recruiting never ends. A big part of recruiting, even before the pandemic, was through text messaging, phone call, stuff like that. So that part of it has kind of stayed the same.
Jerry Tipton will go to you, and then Larry Vaught.
Jay, obviously the season hasn't gone as well as you guys would want. At this stage, what do you call upon to motivate the guys to, keep at it?
They have pretty good motivation right now. I mean, they haven't folded, they haven't stopped working or anything like that. So that's been the one positive with, like you're saying, how the season's gone. But I think they still understand, what we have ahead of us. We take it one game at a time, and then we'll just focus on, once we get to the SEC tournament, one game at a time there, and see what happens.
Why not talk about, we need to get a double bye in the SEC tournament? Why not make that appeal?
Well, the main thing is just trying to win every game and get to each game. And a lot of the double bye and stuff like that, you also have to account for what other teams do and how they play and stuff like that. So, when you talk about it, it's kind of a 50-50 thing. So as long as we can take care and control what we can control, it'll take care of ourselves, So that was the biggest thing, is just getting them to focus on Ole Miss.
Larry Vaught, go ahead.
Yeah, Jake, could you kind of just give a little bit of an update about how Cameron and Lance are progressing?
They're progressing good. They get a lot of reps and a lot of stuff in practice. They haven't played as much in the games. We've kind of, with how the game's been going, and us, winning 3 of the last 4, I think, and how we played, the rotation kind of slimmed down to, I want to say we're playing probably 7, 8 people. So they're just on the outside looking in, but they're doing a good job and getting extra work in, extra weight room, and things they need to do.
For a guy like Cameron, we really haven't seen much of him at all. What kind of improvements has he made? How's he better now than he was when you first got here and started working with him?
Well, I think he's understanding the game a little bit better, and that's been the biggest thing with the team this year and the freshmen we've had, is just getting them to understand the game a little bit better. And, he's in good shape, playing with high motor, high energy, and that's a big thing for Cam, of how he'll be successful, is just the energy and the effort he plays with. So understanding how to put that also with thinking through the game and understanding new terminology and stuff like that, he's done a good job.
Ken Spencer, I'll come to you, and then to John Clay.
Jay, did the Texas A&M game get canceled last week? Did that kind of hurt you guys? Because it seemed like you guys were on a pretty good rhythm, and then next thing you know, boom, there's a week, between games. Did you think that hurt this team a little bit?
Yeah, in retrospect, you can say that, and that's part of the year. That's part of the COVID season. We had a little rhythm going, and you want to do everything to keep it going. And that pause and that break, and you kind of saw with some of the other teams coming out of break, like a Baylor at a Kansas. You just can't, when you don't have a rhythm and something happens, and it can be one game like the Texas A&M thing, it just throws you off, out of sync, especially for a team like ours who have kind of been up and down all year. When you find something, you have a little momentum, you kind of want to do everything to keep it going.
John Clay, go ahead.
Jay, kind of going back to your playing days, Cal said after the game that the team reverted in some aspects, some bad habits kind of came back again. When that happens, is that more of a mental thing or a physical thing?
It can, it's hard to say, because you can say it could come from us not playing, and then there being just this gap of, you don't know what kind of hangover you're going to have from being off for that long. I think that was a big part of it. And then, you know, we were coming off something I think that we hadn't had all year, if I'm correct, a 3-game win streak. And then you don't, the second time. So you just don't know what type of stuff they're getting and what they're reading and stuff like that. So this is a little bit of everything.
Jerry, I'll come back to you and then Larry.
Yeah, Jay, after the Florida game, Cal said that the Florida zone kind of, was an issue. And I'm wondering why you think it was, and then how you would compare how Florida zoned with how Ole Miss might zone you guys.
Well, you know, credit to Mike White and the staff. They did a good job, and they did something that they really hadn't done all year. They played a completely different zone than what they had put on film. So, you know, he did a really good job of making it a non-traditional 3-2, and it was more of a matchup, man-to-man 3-2. So he did a good job with that, and it just kind of it made us stagnant. And I think all being off, like we talked about, and just having that lack of rhythm, and you can practice and you can do stuff, but, you know, it's nothing like the rhythm you get from playing in a game. So I think that was the big thing is that, you know, it's a little bit different. And with Ole Miss, they're kind of 1-3-1 is more aggressive, and they're out pressuring you a little bit more. And it kind of transitions back to a 2-3 or a man. So it's kind of a completely different type of concept. So, you know, I think with us having played against Florida in the zone, it's done something that will help us the rest of the year. For, you know, especially when you get in a tournament situation and it's a one game, you got to be able to change things at the drop of the hat. And so we're kind of thankful that Florida did throw that little curveball at us so it can get us ready.
And I wonder what kind of a challenge Devontae Shuler is. How do you assess his style, his play?
Well, he's a big key to their team. You know, when he plays well, they play well, and when he doesn't, they kind of struggle. And so, you know, you have to, from the beginning, do your job, especially in pick and roll coverage against them, how you're going to guard them and your guys off the ball and kind of trying to crowd the paint so he can't get downhill. And you kind of just want him to take contested shots. You want to make him really inefficient. I think he had 20 points on 20 shots last game, so you kind of want to have him do something like that.
Larry, coming to you, and then John Long, you'll be next.
Jay, as a former point guard yourself, how frustrating has it been at times that you all can't get the kind of consistency you want at point guard? And have you talked to Nolan Hickman any this year, or been able to see him play on live stream or anything? What do you think of him?
You know, I mean, the biggest thing with just being a point guard and having point guards, and it's not necessarily just on our point guard, it's just turnovers in general. Some of the turnovers we have just being a guard, you can say from all our guards, are the ones that kind of drive you a little crazy. But, you know, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's the thing of having young guards. I mean, you have Devin, BJ, and, you know, you say Davion, he's old, he's a senior and stuff like that, but this is really his first time, you know, at this level. This is a different level, and it is different things that come, and you have a new staff, a new coach and everything, so he's learning on the fly too. So I think that's been a big thing is just the difference in that, and I think that's been hard. And with Nolan, you know, he's somebody who's signed here and committed here where we talk a lot. And I've seen we get the stream of his games and watching those and stuff like that. And, you know, I kind of had thanked him or, like, invited him last week and told him, you know, welcome to the club of being a McDonald's All-American. So we were talking about that. But, you know, I think he's somebody who will come in and be a big help for us next year.
Thank you.
John Long, go ahead.
Jay, Coach Cal was lamenting after the game on Saturday how he really didn't have anybody who could beat other guys off the dribble. And you played at that elite level. I mean, is that ultimately going to be the fatal flaw of this team? And how do you compensate for that?
You know, it's kind of what we've done is, you know, you can play through the post a little more. You have to get more off-ball action to kind of create some gaps and, you know, give them, I guess, a downhill run towards the rim and stuff like that to kind of generate it for them. You know, I think the thing is, and especially here, you can get spoiled when you have guys like De'Aaron Fox and John Wall and stuff like that. And those guys don't come around a lot. Trust me, because I've been at schools that haven't had them. So, you just kind of have to work with what you have. And I think we've done a good job of, and I think this is a real big benefit to Coach Cal of just, he says that everything's in pencil. So just trying things till we find something that works and then keep going with that. And then just having to adjust.
How are your skills? You still have that quick first step?
In my mind, I do. Probably not in real life, but at least in my head, I think I do.
Jerry, I think you got another one. Coming back to you.
Yeah, Jay, I still have my slow first step. So we won't get into that. I'm wondering, just sort of facetiously, a 9 p.m. start is obviously late.
Yeah.
What kind of a challenge is that all-day wait?
It's a big challenge because on game days, coaches and players, you have this kind of anxiety of waiting, wanting to play the game, and so it kind of delays it all the way out to the end. But we've had some late games already. I think this might be our first one on the road because we're supposed to play Missouri late, but that one got changed. So I think it's something that we'll be ready for. And I think with the short turnaround, the Saturday, Tuesday, it gives you a little more time to let your bodies rest too. So I think we'll be okay.
How do you fill that time? You know what I mean? What sort of things do you?
Well, you just kind of push everything back later. So, your shoot-around time will be a little bit later. Your pregame meal and film will be a little bit later. I think on the front end, you just let them sleep in a little bit later and then try to keep them up, after pregame and stuff like that. But you just give them more time on the front end to rest.
Thanks.
Larry Vaught, back to you.
Jane is wondering when you look at Isaiah, and sometimes the way he gets in foul trouble, I sit here and say, man, don't make those silly fouls like that. But as a coach, do you talk to a guy about foul trouble, what to do or not do, or do you not mess with him so you don't make him maybe foul more?
No, I mean, you have to talk to him because he's one of our most important players, both on the defensive end and then the way he can rebound and get stuff on the offensive end as well. So we have to talk to him about it. And he's a freshman. There's no other way to put it. Some of the fouls and the stuff he does, he just makes freshman mistakes. And, I think it's just the benefit of, we started to play better these last couple of weeks. And it's just the timing of the year of having to finally get them where they understand completely what you're trying to tell them and little stuff like you're saying with fouling and stuff. And then it just being able to carry over. This is stuff that probably would have happened at the beginning of January. With the extra games and the way you play it and stuff like that, but it's just happening now for us.
Guys, I don't have anything else in the queue. Anything else for Jay? All right, folks. Thanks, Jay, for stopping by. We'll get the normal stuff out on the media.